But one thing listening to you that I do envy though is I never did, like, even Mary and I talk about this, I never did the whole drinking and partying at uni. And
you didn't do the whole student
I
accommodation.
did not do any of that. Like, I had such a boring life at uni.
Okay,
I was always in the library and like with my geeky friends, and that was it. That was it. That's literally it. The most fun I had was like have a sandwich at the cafe. that was it.
Hey guys,
Hey.
Welcome to another episode of the How Much Do They Make series. Today we have a special guest. We have Ramatu, who is a nutritionist. Welcome, Ramatu.
Hi, Ramatu.
Hi. Thank you.
Welcome. We're really excited to have you on this series. Do you want to just start by telling people who you are and what you do? Just explain and for how long you've been doing it.
Sure. My name is Ramatu. I'm a registered nutritionist with a specialism in food. And I'm currently working as a school food nutritionist for a catering company in the east of England. And I've been doing that for about 5 years now. Yeah.
So that's interesting. Ramatu, tell us, how did you get into being a nutritionist?
So I studied at university. I did a nutrition bachelor's of science, and that was for 3 years. And then once I finished and graduated from my university course, I then actually applied for a graduate's position at the company that I'm still working at now. And I was successful, which I was really grateful for. So that was only shortly after I finished uni.
Right, cool. So we'd love to know, what does a day in the life of a nutritionist look like? To us, in my mind, I'm thinking you just cook stuff and eat a load of good food. Like, What really happens? Like, give us the reality.
No, of course. Do you know what? It's really funny because nutritionists do so many different things. I'm specifically in the food industry.
Right.
So what I mainly do is I deal with ensuring that the catering company that I work for, that our menus are in compliance with government legislation.
Okay.
So I have to ensure that. I also create special dietary menus for children who have special requirements, such as if they're diabetic or they have a dairy allergy or they're gluten-free, for example.
Okay.
So that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. I also have to deliver healthy eating presentations when necessary. So that's in the form of a workshop within our school. So that might be in a primary school or a secondary school. Day to day, I'm always dealing with parent queries.
Do you know what's funny? Listening to you, it makes me just an idea. It comes to, if you're not doing this already, you should totally do it. But exploring the idea of starting a nutrition blog.
Do you know what? Yeah, I have a nutrition Instagram that my husband actually created for me. He pushed me into that because I didn't want to do that.
Yes.
But I do actually love writing. It's something that I should do, but I'm not doing right now.
We've got a step-by-step guide and a free course, which we're going to just link to below in the box. Anyone else who's listening who might be interested. But ordinarily, we're going to email you those details from that too, because I think it just makes a lot of sense for what you do.
No brainer, for sure. So tell us, what are the top 3 things or habits make you a success at what you do?
I would definitely say the top 3 things that make me a success are, number 1, being committed to professional development. As part of being a registered nutritionist, I have to maintain a CPD portfolio. So ensuring that my knowledge is always up to date, because nutrition is always changing. Science is always improving. So I'd say that's definitely number 1. Number 2 is something that someone told me has stayed with me throughout my nutrition career, which is jack of all trades, master of none.
Wow.
And she just taught me, as a nutritionist, it can be really tempting to be a specialist in all areas, such as food, animal nutrition, public health nutrition, sports nutrition. And I know that when I came out of uni, I wanted to do all of those, but actually just picking one and focusing on one, I think that's what has helped me become a success. Finally, networking and not being afraid to follow up. I hate networking, but I'm very good at following up. So I might say, it was really lovely to meet you. I'd love to know more of what you do and how you got where you did. So I think that's what has helped me.
What would you say you love about what you do as a nutritionist?
I love being able to make an impact. And by that, I mean, when I was in school, there was no such thing. It wasn't too long ago, but when I was in school, there was no such thing as a nutritionist. There was no such thing as a nutritionist. If you were vegetarian, you were having pasta and tomato sauce.
Yeah.
But now things have changed so much. And I just love the fact that parents come back to me saying, thank you for making my child feel included,
Wow.
especially if they have a special diet. It can be so hard for children feeling different.
Funny, we surveyed our audience, and you should check out on our communities tab on YouTube. We asked people outside of their home mortgage or rent, what do they spend the most money on? And by far, most people spend the most money on food.
It's very interesting.
So this whole area of you being a nutritionist, it's actually a pretty special work that you're doing. And I think there's so many ways you can apply your knowledge, your experience, and expertise, and help even more people have that impact. What
do you find challenging about what you do?
I think the most challenging thing is just trying to accommodate all special dietary needs. I can completely appreciate that parents don't necessarily understand the processes that go into ensuring that their children are safely fed. A lot of things with costing and logistics and sourcing, and parents don't really know this. So it can be a little bit of war with parents, especially because they're very protective over their children. I think that's the most challenging thing about being a school food nutritionist. We aren't able to cater for all special diets, and that's okay. But as long as we can try and, do it to the best of our ability whilst ensuring the child is safe. So that's one of our biggest challenges for me, especially.
Let's talk money. It's a personal finance channel. People are very curious. I want to know. So you're doing good things in the world. You're really, this career has so much potential. How much would you say do you currently earn right now on a monthly basis, and from what different sources?
Okay, so currently my only source of income is my current role, full-time role. My monthly income is about £2,200. But actually, when I started at the company 5 years ago, it was 1,400. So it's just to show that there's been an increase every year.
Okay.
I'm really grateful for, actually. So yeah, that's my current salary.
So hang on. So your salary's gone from, it's almost, did I hear almost doubled?
Yeah.
In how long?
So 5 years. When I started, I was on 23,000 a year, and now I'm on 33,500 a year.
Wow.
Awesome.
So I'm really grateful for that, because I didn't expect it. I didn't really have an idea of what salary expectations were, etc. So.
Right. So tell us, what is the maximum income potential for somebody who wants to become a nutritionist?
So it can be quite varied depending on what sector you're in. But in the food industry, I would say that the maximum potential would probably be up to £80,000.
Right.
Pushing, I think, maybe up to 120, depending on your experience. But I think on average about £80,000.
Given where you are, you look quite young to us. You're, clearly into this whole idea of, your profession of being a nutritionist. What plans do you have of increasing your income? And in what ways are you planning to do it in the future?
I love that you asked that question, actually, because it's something that I'm always thinking about improving every year. I would love to become a nutrition manager. So I've seen that I have a few skills, and some people have mentioned it. So a way in which I see myself, having a higher salary is maybe managing a team of nutritionists. And that's something my manager actually supports. He's always asking, what can I do to help you get to that? So yeah.
Love that. Supportive manager, love it. So tell us, Ramatu, what top 3 pieces of advice would you give to somebody who wants to become a nutritionist like yourself and earn what you do and potentially more in the future?
I would say, firstly, don't underestimate transferable skills from various work experiences. That's one thing I always say. Whether you're in retail or you're doing something completely different, that is still valuable. Secondly, if you are lacking any experience at all, it's really important to get some sort of voluntary work, whether that's writing articles, whether that's helping at a food bank or working with some sort of charity. That's really, really important, just to sort of bump up your experience. And thirdly, when starting out, not to restrict yourself to one area of nutrition. When I started out and just finished university, I wanted to be in sports nutrition, but actually the experience I had was not in sports nutrition. And so I had to sort of delve into other areas, and I'm in a completely different area now. So that's one thing I always tell those who are looking to go into nutrition. Do not restrict yourself. Be open to various roles, and you might actually find that what you thought you would like, you're doing something completely opposite, which you love. So Yeah, those are my 3 top tips.
All right, let's shift gears a bit now and talk personal finance. How would you describe your current relationship with money?
I think my relationship with money is steady. I think it's good. It can definitely be a lot better, but I would definitely say it's not bad. I previously didn't know what my monthly outgoings were, etc. So I think just knowing that, I don't have a spreadsheet, but having notes, how much I need to pay, how much I've been paid, saving, etc. But I think what's sort of holding me back is taking risks. So I would rather have my money knowing it's in a safe place rather than maybe putting it into other places and pots. Yeah, I'm just a bit cautious with all those things. So I think I'm playing it safe. That makes sense.
So what do you think you learned about money from your parents growing up?
Nothing. I think the only thing I learned was be giving. That was something I always learned. Be giving, if someone is in need, you should be helpful. But outside of that, I don't think there was anything that was taught specifically about finances at all, actually.
Wow. Do you know what? Do you think that's because is that a cultural thing? Like, because Mary and I have Nigerian heritage, and I almost think we learned about money indirectly. It wasn't like, teach you about, money and how to manage it and stuff like that. It was just kind of like observing our parents make mistakes and make certain moves as well with their money positively that really that we learned from. So would you say it's because of your potentially about heritage and culture that you might not have learned about money maybe?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think it's quite interesting that you said you learned indirectly from maybe the mistakes of your parents, because I'm only knowing the mistakes of my parents as an adult now. I think growing up, it was something they never spoke about. And so, yeah, it was almost in our culture, we give. If you give, someone will give to you. You're always going to need a helping hand. So I think that's the only thing I was taught about finances growing up.
Yeah, this is such an important topic, and it's a big motivation for Mary and I running this channel, actually, because, we just want to, and this is another reason why we're including money as part of this series, is that many people just don't talk about it. And it's funny how in Britain, in this country, it's the same. In kind of a lot of African culture, it's the same. And I'm sure it's the same in like Caribbean culture and other cultures around the world as well. So money is just one of those topics. But I just think our experience is that the more we found that we've had conversations, particularly in our marriage, the more we're united as a couple, as a family, and to achieve a particular vision. Because I remember growing up as well, my parents, they would not really talk so much about money unless there's a bill to pay. Who's got that letter on the who's not opened the letter? When you have those letters with like a red thing across it. Urgent.
Final warning.
Final warning. And then the conversation happens. And you're like, isn't that interesting that the conversation happens when like someone's knocking and kicking the door down?
Exactly.
So that's really interesting, actually, because because money just affects even relationships so deeply.
Definitely.
And a lot of the time, people don't even know that it's money that's causing the issue.
Exactly.
Until maybe it's too late. So, yeah. In fact, it's good to know from people in the chat, actually, people watching this, like, did you grow up with your parents talking positively about money, apart from wanting to pay bills or kind of like having a fight over the fact that like the direct debits bounced or something, or like something didn't go through? Did your parents talk positively about money or negatively? Let us know in the comments. All right, so you're doing well on your career so far. We'd love to know, because we're so curious, what do you currently spend most of your money on? And then what do you spend on to treat yourself as well?
I would definitely say food. Being a nutritionist, I'm very particular about, eating lean meat. I buy brown carbs, brown pasta, brown rice, and it is a little bit more expensive, fruits, vegetables. So yeah, a lot of our monthly income goes to spending on food. And what do I spend on as a treat? I actually treat myself quite often because I feel like I work very hard. But I mainly treat myself on things like shoes and outdoor experiences. I think that's mainly, I love going out to eat. But I would mainly say it's material things usually if I'm treating myself. Good old clothes or some shoes.
Right, okay.
Cool, awesome. So can you think of any regrets or money mistakes that you've made and what you've learned from them?
Yeah, definitely. For me personally, I would definitely say maintenance grant at university. I really took that for granted. no pun intended, because that's not offered at the moment anymore. I think it's just a maintenance loan. And I just did that whole thing. The maintenance grant I received, university, drinks, clothes. I feel like I really wasted it. And if I went back in time, I would tell myself, save that money. You can use it towards a deposit for a house. So that's definitely one thing I'm going to tell my children. I think that is my biggest regret, just not using and spending my the money I received at university wisely.
I'm sure so many people that will resonate with so many people.
When did they even offer maintenance grants? This is probably giving away my age, but
I'm quite young. So when I was in university in 2013, and they were offering maintenance grants.
But one thing listening to you that I do envy though is I never did, like, even Mary and I talk about this, I never did the whole drinking and partying at uni. And
you didn't do that whole student
accommodation. I did not do any of that. Like, honestly, I feel I had such a boring life at uni.
Okay,
I was always in the library and like with my geeky friends, and that was it. That was literally it. I'd come in, do my bit, hi, and then head off and go home. And
but you had your MBA experience at Cambridge.
Yeah, okay. I eventually got that. But I feel like I missed out a lot. Like, even when Mary talks about, like, all the fun she and her girls had at uni, I think to myself, gosh, the most fun I had was like have a sandwich at the cafe. That was it. but I got a first at uni, so I kind of had something to show for it.
Exactly.
This next question, we want to hear your dreams and all that kind of stuff. What would you say is your ultimate financial goal? So when you think about you and your husband, your family life, and you personally, what is all this money journey for? What are you working towards?
Working on my terms. I think that's what it is. Working on my terms. So knowing that, our bills and our current lifestyle can be funded with other streams of income. And also just ensuring that, our children, my son currently is given the best opportunities, whether that's education, sports. Yeah, that's my dream. Genuinely, that is my dream.
That is a good dream.
Yeah, I love that.
That's all I'm going to say. That is a good dream. And you know what? I mean, we say this all the time, and obviously our channel's based on around this subject. I think the thing, we can say from a place of comfort is that our generation are starting to look at this whole money journey very differently. And it's actually possible. Like, had we not been on the journey ourselves and actually been through it over a decade, we wouldn't have believed it ourselves. We would have just thought, it's just for people on the internet and kind of all this wishing and playing the game differently. We now know that having that dream, which for a lot of people is just a wish, but converting that dream into some very clearly defined goals and layering a complete plan on top of that, and with other things around mindset and skill set, there's definitely a way of getting to that place you want to get to.
100%.
So keep obviously, if you're watching our channel, if you're watching, come on, if you're binging on those videos.
Honestly, they're great. Genuinely, I just wanted to say I love watching your videos. I think I only came across your videos in the first lockdown. I don't know how, but I was just trying to get my finances in order because they were all over the place. And yeah, I just loved watching your videos. They really saved me from making some expensive purchases as well.
Wow. Okay. That's good.
And just exploring other avenues, like you said, writing blog posts and looking at my skill set and what I can do with that. I love watching your videos.
Amazing. No, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been great having you on. And you're currently on maternity, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Well, it's not much of a dance, but I'm enjoying it. I'm currently sleep deprived, but feeling good.
Yeah, you don't look it though. You don't look it.
Oh, thank you.
It must be a great diet for sure.
Yeah, I know. It must be on something good because you don't look it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramatu. It's been great having you on. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share this with somebody who you think will find it useful. And as ever, guys, in all things,
be thankful and seek joy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, Ramatu.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.